Okay. Vito. I'm gonna show y'all boys where I'm from, man. I'm from that.
Oh, it felt good. It felt good. I started 2012 with a knockout, and I ended it 13 years later with the same knockout. Big left hook.
That was beautiful.
So it felt good to knock somebody out.
Official, this is your last fight?
Yeah, like I said, man. I'm standing on it. I'm standing on it.
So you tell me if Xander Zayas calls you tomorrow and is interested in a homecoming fight in Puerto Rico against you for the WBO world title, you wouldn't be interested in that fight?
I mean, listen, I'm
if
not even
Virgil
thinking
Ortiz
about that.
people called you tomorrow,
Well, the price got to be right, like Bob Barker. Because,
So you're not fully retired.
well, I said 85% retired.
85%, okay, I like that.
15%. Because I love boxing, and if it makes sense, but this the dollar sign got to be right. Or not, it's not even worth, the risk's not worth the reward for me no more. And I'm not even getting
How
paid
did you
a lot of money.
see?
Freestyle. That about stuck in my head, man. And if y'all know who said that, put it in the comment section, man. If you from Houston, you should know that, man. But Big Boss How Boss Dog can't pop through the door here to talk to his box fuck about soliloquy. Maybe tough times don't last. Good people do them not yourself. Caught him in the highlight. Maybe you met a peak game. Made the folks with swag. All right now. So, man, Danny Garcia, man, gets a 4th round knockout. His farewell fight. He fought yesterday, last night, Saturday night. It's crazy. I was recording a live, watching football because there's some good football games on, and talking to my wife all at the same time. Multitask. You know what I'm saying? So like they was talking on the live, I'm trying to listen to them, trying to listen to my wife, and watching football at the same time. Crazy work. Danny Garcia, man, he gets that knockout. He brought up Danny, I think his name Danny Gonzalez, a former Chris Algieri opponent. Brought him up to 154. They fought. He got a 4th round knockout. Closed it with that no look left hook, and you know, was celebrated. Everybody was excited, and it was a good feeling to see Danny Garcia, you know, get that win. You know what I mean? Danny Garcia, man, was a, you know, his run at 40 was phenomenal, knocking out a dangerous Lucas Matisse, you know, and then once he moved up to 47, you know, made some noise, but just couldn't get over the hump. Like, he beat all the guys he was supposed to beat, but then, like, when he got up there with the top guys at that time, he just couldn't beat them, right? You know, lost a close decision to Keith Thurman, lost a close decision to Sean Porter, got dominated by Errol Spence, never fought Terrence Crawford. I wish that fight would have happened. But Danny Garcia, man, he literally fought almost everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I got nothing but respect for Danny Garcia. I think he had a heck of a career. He will always be remembered to me as, you know, one of those unsung heroes in boxing. You know what I mean? You always got those guys that you mention their name, like after they retire, you be like, oh man, Danny Garcia, yeah. Or man, this dude, man, do you remember he fought this dude and he did this? Like, that's gonna be Danny Garcia. You know what I mean? Do I think Danny Garcia is a Hall of Famer? If Timothy Bradley could be a Hall of Famer, I think Danny Garcia is a Hall of Famer. You know, there's no disrespect to Tim Bradley, but there are guys in the Hall of Fame. Sylvester Stallone's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So, do I think that Danny Garcia is a Hall of Famer? Yes. According to the standards that they got now to get in the Hall of Fame, right? So that's just what it is. I mean, I'm sorry. These are the standards that they put. You know, if you got an actor who never boxed before, he in the Hall of Fame, Danny Garcia could be in the Hall of Fame. You know, but I think Danny Garcia deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? He his run at 40 was top tier. You know what I mean? I mean, he knocked out a dude who was killing. He was knocking out everybody who was feared. He flushed him. You know what I'm saying? So much respect to Danny Garcia, man. He moved up to 54. Now when he said he was going to 54, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Yo, I had a lot of time. I was like, man, it's different up there. And that's what I keep saying about 154 pounds. It's different. Nobody comes out this division unscathed, bro. You know, everybody wants to talk about, oh, this at this weight class, this weight class. 154 is different. When you start getting in them upper weight classes, it's like it's difficult for you to remain unscathed. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of the fact that the danger there. You know what I mean? Them dudes punching. You know, and these are bigger dudes. You know, if you're smaller weight classes, it's a bit easier to remain unscathed. If you start getting in them bigger weight classes, you could be winning a fight and then you take a second off, boop, now you laying on the ground looking and you trying to figure out what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, Danny Garcia, 54, you know, when he moved up, I was like, I mean, he a name, but you saw it. He never really fought anybody who's a real 154 pounder. He brought up Jose Benavidez Jr. And then, you know, when he went to 60 to fight Lara, I was like, you saw what happened. The video's up. I was like, I don't know about that one. Yo, I was like, I don't know. I said, you know, Lara is 40, you know, so maybe Father Time jump on you. And Father Time jump on that man beat the brakes of Danny Garcia, right? But I'm happy that, you know, Danny Garcia went out the right way. He was interviewed after the fight. He was talking about, you know, he's 85% retired. And, you know, if they pay the right money, he'll continue to fight. I say stay retired. You know, they brought up Xander Zayas. I'm like, I mean, that's a 50-50 fight to me. Only because Xander Zayas is beatable. Like, out of all the champions, I feel like he's the weakest link. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just being real. Like, he's the weakest link, right? And it shows the inexperience that he has. You know what I mean? He's the weakest link out of all the champions. He's inexperienced. He looks inexperienced. I just don't see him being able to. I don't see Xander Zayas beating any top guy at 54. I ain't gonna lie to you. I could be wrong. But, you know, the whole, like, era of, hey, we're going to develop this guy on the network and, you know, coddle him, and that's over with. Now you gotta fight, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I just don't think Xander Zayas is going to be able to compete at 154 pounds against those top guys. You know what I mean? I don't know how they going to move him. You know, I think that the public is going to start demanding for him to fight, you know, names. And this where they're going to run into an issue. You know what I mean? So, we'll see how this thing goes. But shout out to Danny Garcia. Hell of a career. Sky's the limit for Danny Garcia. I think that he's a Hall of Famer. I do wish he would have fought Terrence Crawford. I feel like he would have been, for sure, a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a good scrap. I wanted to see, like, you know, I would have favored Crawford in that fight, but you know, you never know. I wanted to see. You know, it's a lot of fights that you wish you could have saw. You know what I mean? But you know, that's boxing. You know, a lot of fights don't. You know, I wanted to see Floyd and Paul Williams. You know, I wanted to see Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. You know, earlier, you know, I still feel like it probably would have been worse if Floyd probably would have beat Pacquiao worse. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. I just think Floyd he's a brilliant mind in that ring. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Danny Garcia, man. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to everybody. And let me know what y'all think. Let's go.